We're late. Let's hit the intro. Back with Scott.
This is not a show. It might not even be a connection. Here's Judah and Guest.
And it's Judah and Guest. I'm pleased to be back with Scott again, talking about art. And today we're going to talk about something a little bit more, I would say, in the news, right? It's a little less talking about sort of origins and definitions and more. What do you call it? What is that word? It's
not
in the news. It's I can't think of it. But, it's like I can't think of the word. It's like current event. It's current events.
Oh, current event. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I can't think of the phrase current events. So yeah, current events. As all of a sudden we've seen an explosion of well, it's interesting. How you doing? I want to check in with you, man. You doing all right?
I'm doing great.
I saw that you bought your canvas for your big project.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's
in
massive.
more ways than one.
Half a football field, 96 inches wide. I mean, it's massive. So I'm excited that when that showed up, it was like getting the present you've been waiting eight or more months to show up underneath the Christmas tree.
No, wow.
So,
now, was that super expensive to get that much?
Oh, I got such a good deal. It should have been so much more expensive. I got it for basically 75% off of the normal price. It should be about $1,500 for the canvas. I got it for a fraction of that.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like everything happened perfect timing.
That's awesome. Now, are you going to treat that canvas and frame it, or are you just going to cut it, or what kind of
thing? So we're going to build, we should probably, I think in a couple weeks, it'd be a great time to try to explain what this project is and see and I'd like to get your opinion. I'd also love to see I don't know if he's available. I'd love to see, love to get Josh's opinion too, but from a theological perspective, but it's it's a 12 painting series that tells an entire story for church. For hopefully it's going into my church. It's, my pastor's for it, so that he definitely has he's excited about it. He and his wife, and so we'll see what happens. But that's the way I'm painting it, no matter what, whether it goes in the church I attend or your church.
Hey, yeah,
but I am going to get these scanned so they can be reproduced. Yeah,
awesome. Well, we've already sort of talked a little bit about it. You've given some previews of the
couple.
The one you talked about was the Jacob and what was it? Jacob,
Isaac? Abraham looking at Christ.
Abraham and Isaac.
Yeah, and looking at Christ coming down from the cross. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Well, we already have comment. Jay Nass is in the comment section watching today. Nice. He says, like a baby after 9 months. LOL. I really don't understand art, but I like art. And it always, to me, it goes back. Does anybody? John Lennon said, I don't know art, but I know what I like. And I don't know if he really said that, but that's who I attribute it to, like the Beatles. Wow, we have Jim Pass also watching with that much canvas. You could wrap.
Yeah.
That's
the thing. There's you know what? There's this. Sorry, not to get too sidetracked. In front of our church, it's so awkward because there's this white wall and it's kind of asymmetrical. And so, I was showing the first person I revealed all this to was my pastor's wife, and she's in charge of the whole aesthetic side of church. And she's like, I'm all on board, but
Hmm.
but I'm on condition. You help us figure this out, and it's that way weird asymmetrical wall. And so I learned about in my study. I learned about this thing called Polytab, which is like a mural fabric. And so now
Hmm.
my gears are turning and thinking, okay, if I could Polytab in some way this entire massive asymmetrical thing, we can put some massive pictures there. So anyway, I'm thinking beyond this
I
project, but this
so that's that's weird. My brain like goes to MC Escher or even like Harry Potter or something where you put like some kind of optical illusion. You know, it's where like you.
it's a lot you could do. Yeah,
Oh
but
man,
you know, I'm excited that there's so many tools available today as opposed to hundreds of
yeah,
years ago, and I like
yeah.
that people are getting excited that in my sphere and not both far, meaning you, like people in remotely, but also people in my immediate community and church community. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Excited.
Interesting. It's getting well, it just seems like from my perspective, art is exploding. I think maybe the pandemic had
Mm-hmm.
something to do
Yeah.
with people staying home and artists just having a lot of time on their hands and doing a lot of things. Um, let's see. So the blockchain. I'm going to
Yeah.
go ahead and put up uh, the banner NFT art and the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're going to sort of be talking about
Yeah.
today. I think it's interesting because we're like a rocket. We're taking off as creative industry, as the creative industry ties into. I mean, it's always been pretty tied into the tech world, right? I mean, a lot of what has propelled the tech world has been, well, porn. But other than that, art, and folks have been able to tap into the graphic design and manipulation of images. And one of the person who has probably been the most prolific is Beeple, right?
Yeah.
Now let me I'm gonna put up a picture so you kind of get a picture of what he looks like. Just a normal looking
Yep.
goofy dude. Beeple, what's his real name? Do you know his real name?
Yeah. Mike Winkelmann.
Yes, Mike Winkelmann,
Mike Winkelmann.
just a
Yeah.
normal Jewish dude who
Yeah.
he so he I first heard of him when he came so I followed this channel for a long time called Corridor Digital. This has become called just Corridor, but it's a
Okay.
couple of guys that have done like YouTube special effects, and like they from the time they were in high school they've been posting things on Facebook and just kind of doing tutorials about how to do special effects on the internet. They teamed up with Jimmy Wong and just all kinds of like Hollywood effects at this point. But they had people on their show, and since they're so into effects, they're like, "Hey, I'll maybe I can post the link in the comment section or something."
Mm-hmm.
But they did a contest where everybody in their little studio were like competing against people to do like a digital art by like within an hour or something like that. They had like
Mm-hmm.
a certain time frame, and then he came back after the digital art thing, and well, so he became ultimately famous, like way more famous, because he sold a picture of it. So he was doing one piece of digital art. Now I have some. So this is what he sold. You can't really see
Every
much of
days.
it.
Yeah. Right.
Every day he's been doing a
Yep.
piece. Now you see some of these. Let me get rid of let me get rid of that banner. You can kind of see some of the things he does. This surreal digital art where it's not. I mean, I watched them do it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily taking a paintbrush, right? You're taking images. Sometimes he'll take an image of himself. He'll take an image of a popular character in the news, like Trump or somebody, or a popular picture, and he will manipulate it to give it this real surreal, almost like an MC. No, what was his name? Who's that guy?
Salvador Dali.
Yeah, almost like a Salvador.
Yeah.
Dali.
He is the king of surrealism. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he to me, he draws a lot from Salvador Dali and does these surreal picture, digital pictures.
Yeah.
Now he became famous because he took a lot. Did he take all of them he's done so far and sold this online? He connected it to what is called an NFT, a non-fungible
token.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, blanked out there. And on the blockchain, was able to connect it to something that can't be copied in a way. I'll explain that a little bit more. But he was how much did he sell it for? I can't remember.
$69.3 million. Wow. Yeah. And the purchaser of that, Metacloven.
This is what he sold.
13 years of his life. Yeah, basically, of every day working on a piece of art. Metacloven, who bought it, has also bought other works of Beeple's, and he's an interesting guy.
Metacloven,
yes. Metakloven, I think.
Is this an art collector of notoriety?
No, he's not. He's not, and that's why. Metakloven, Metacloven, not Cloven. Metacloven.
Okay.
He's an entrepreneur in the virtual space, and he's an NFT investor, and he's also into like what he calls the metaverse, which is literally, it's almost like, think of, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. It's almost like Minecraft, but in the real virtual world. Like, not a game, but there's actual virtual real estate. He has virtual art galleries where he's put these pieces that he's purchased, and he's very forward thinking and in many ways a virtual entrepreneur. And he
explain, what do you mean by virtual entrepreneur?
Well, I don't know. But he's big into NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and that as a means of developing the virtual space and putting up things like, he has virtual art galleries where he has all of his NFTs displayed there, and he's actually rebrokering some of those works, and he took in a different of Beeple's, Mike Winkelmann's works, he bought 20 of a 21 piece series. Someone outbid him for the last piece. He took those 20 pieces, bundled them, then fractionalized them and created what's called 20 bit 20 token. And so so now all these people have these tokens, these bit 20 tokens. He has half of them. He says he's holding on to, and he's not letting go. And the other half, people can buy, and they buy a share of this previously sold body of work of Beeple's, 20 pieces. And so they own fractions of these 20 pieces. So he's he's playing chess while a lot of these people are playing checkers, and it's a great idea. I mean, the guy's
Yeah.
brilliant, and he doesn't own a house, he doesn't own a car, he
Are
rents an
you still talking
apartment.
about Metacloven?
Metacloven, yes,
Okay.
Metacloven guy is strange, cool, strange. But this
Yeah.
is the the future of the new art, the basically is stiff arming the establishment art community, which
This is
there he
Metacloven.
is. Yeah, there he is. There,
His
that's him.
name is Vinesh
Vinesh.
Sundehu.
Yeah, you give it your best shot. Yeah, I watched an interview with him, a couple of them, and he's a very interesting guy. But
Hmm.
he's not an art collector. He's not the kind of guy going into galleries and buying currently made top end art. He's not that guy.
He's more of an entrepreneur, right?
So I'm more of an entrepreneur. Yeah.
a tech of, I don't know how to say, but like he loves technology.
Yes.
It's like he would be like a what's his name, the Tesla guy.
Oh yeah, Elon Musk. And
Elon Musk.
and,
He's like the Elon Musk
similarly, he's bullish on cryptocurrency. I think most of his assets, if not all of it, is in crypto. I think he only converts to cash when he has to. And it's funny because we have to get back to the other stuff, people and all that stuff.
art. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. We have to make our way back. But one interesting thing, his mother, she was like, "Oh, why are you doing this? You're wasting your time. This isn't real. It's not real." And he said, when I gave her the funds that she needed to upgrade her home, and she goes, "Oh, it's real. Okay, go ahead. You can be." And she gave him the name. She gave him the name Metacloven, which is basically the king of meta.
Ah, interesting.
So that's his pseudonym.
So Jay said he's sort of a newborn in the world of art. I'm a child in the world of blockchain. Although I will say that I have been, maybe I'll post the link below, but I have been in discussion with a good friend of mine, Ford Suze, who, in this discussion, we had a podcast once. We reverse redacted. I used to have a podcast called, and I may resurrect it, called Reverse Redaction, where we go back and we pull up old art, whether it be movies, usually movies, but we looked at the idea of Bitcoin and the blockchain, and he talked about, and this was back in 2014.
You're well versed on this then.
Oh, 2000? No, that was back in 2018 or something. Yeah. But it was a while back, and he explained it to me, and he said the future of technology is math. And it was then that I realized. Before then, I didn't really know what the blockchain was. And I think for those of you who are watching, I think the best way to describe it, the blockchain is a very complex password that can be constructed by doing very complex math problems that take more than just a couple of minutes to do. It takes a very long time to do multiple math problems that creates this long blockchain, which is a password. And so it's hard to break. It's not impossible. With quantum computers now, it's a little easier, right? But still, even with quantum computers, it's difficult because people spend days and resources, electricity, server space, and that's how Bitcoin works. Is they capitalize on this, and they reward people with Bitcoin, partial Bitcoin or full Bitcoin, depending on how much of the blockchain, how much of that password their computer is able to work through. It's,
Right.
these
Yeah.
huge calculations.
Mhm.
That's instead of like my for a while my password for Hotmail was password. Good old good old the
Hidden in plain sight.
yeah.
Yeah.
But and actually a lot of people use that, and too many people. And ABC 1 2 3, no, they don't use that. They use E = MC² to the fourth power divided by, just these huge complex
Mhm.
problems that only a
Mhm.
computer can solve as a password. And so math is what is able to hide, or let's say lock down, certain digital properties, right?
Right. Yeah.
Something that you have, it locks it
Mhm.
to something that you have online.
Yeah, and another way to say the same, basically same thing, the way in my limited research, and this is all new to me. This is all brand new to me, and I'm not a tech guy. I was wired for multiple pasts and not many or any futures. I'm still trying to catch up to the present. So I mean, like, I'm not a tech guy. I know enough to get through, I think, basically. But the way I understand is that it's blocks of data that are chained together, and there's a timestamp, and it's immutable. You can't backdate it or forward date it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I'm all anytime there's technology, I'm always skeptical. I mean, even without technology, any human activity, I really believe it when it, just the depth of the human heart to find ways to corrupt anything and
Yeah,
everything. It will always corrupt. But so
yeah,
I am skeptical of this, and basically everyone that talks about it, that's excited about it, they talk about it with swag, as though they think it's not going to have a problem. And
yeah,
I just don't. I've never seen any institution, industry, vocation, anything. I've never seen anything that can't be corruptible in this world. And I and I think this is so. As an investor, for me, probably not gonna. I would not invest if I had the capital to invest in it. But I'm very interested in this, and I'm trying to be a voice for those who want to create. Uh, People that are interested in the arts, and that are creators themselves. On I'm saying this, any level. If you make art on any level, I believe you can take what you have and you can tokenize two pieces with zero risk. It costs about
yeah.
what, I don't know, 15 to 20 bucks to mint a piece of work.
You
And
can go to Mintable. You can go
yeah,
to Rarible.
Rarible, yeah.
These are
Mhm.
websites. I think Wise. What was it called? Wise.
OpenSea,
OpenSea.
OpenSea, Super Rare is my favorite.
I haven't heard of that. Super Rare is your favorite?
Yeah, I like Super Rare for many reasons. I think the work on there is more interesting, and you will find if you go to these different sites. And that's another thing we should probably put in the
Hmm.
comments for people.
Yeah.
I think I'll just like comment link after link after link. Super Rare. What I like about them, I like the body of work that they have, and you see very quickly when you pop on any of these pages kind of what their aesthetic is, because they kind of have their own
Hmm.
aesthetic, and some of it
Okay.
it crosses over. You'll see some works that look similar on different sites, but they have an aesthetic, and I think Super Rare has a more interesting aesthetic. And I like the fact that when you click on a piece, and all the fonts of the text that the artist has written about their own work, and the fonts that have to do with the sale of the work and so forth, are almost like typewriter fonts. And I think that's purposeful. It helps ground people in it is saying we're not so future that we don't want to have any kind of connection to the
It's got a
past.
retro feeling to it.
Yes, and it's easy to navigate. It's easier to look at too. Yeah.
Well, see, originally, like what I didn't understand. So originally, I thought that they put the code of the digital art into the blockchain, but they can't do that because
No.
some of these pictures are just like huge blocks of of code themselves. Now
Right.
you could put a
Right.
simple like SVG file or something like that, you know, like a vector file, but these complex colors and stuff you just can't. And they're huge pictures too. They're
Right.
like a lot of pixels. So what they do is they do have like a couple lines of code in the blockchain that links back to the original. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so what super rare and rareable and mintable, some of these websites, wise what did I was gonna look it up. I think it's called WiseKey. WiseKey is kind of a newer one.
Okay.
That they've got like this. They're hooking it up to a what do you call those, like barcodes type thing?
Oh yeah, the QR.
Yeah,
The
QR code.
QR code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in this blockchain, you have a couple lines that links it back to where they're hosting it permanently. They have a place where they're hosting it permanently.
Right.
Or so they say, but see, that's where it gets a little hinky, right? It's like, what
Yeah.
happens if that company collapses,
Falters.
right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Where does it go? I
I
know.
have
That's
seen many a website just go, you know, I as somebody
yes.
who as dabbles in the website creation industry,
Yeah.
it's code that can not only corrupt but be you know, deleted. So there it's not like it is it's not immutable. Of course, nothing is immutable. But it's pretty interesting that you have these companies that are creating a gateway to this new industry.
I like the anti-art establishment side of it. That's why
Say
I'm
more about
willing to.
that.
Well, I'm always I'm willing to be flexible, even though it's. I look at these sites and I don't find anything that I'm going to emulate or want my work to look like, but there's some that I can appreciate, and so that's fine. But I just like the idea of I've been trying to get at this for a while. The reason I did not get into 20 years ago, when I was at a fork in the road, a little over 20 years ago, and I was actually, pursuing getting into art schools, was accepted into art schools, couldn't afford to go to those art schools, and that was a roadblock. I learned a little bit more about the industry shortly after, when I started working in the real contemporary art world with the job that I currently have. I've been there almost 20
Mm,
years now. And I started learning how the current contemporary art world works. And yes, you have to slavishly. I know many artists that slavishly work for the gallery. They get 50% of the sale of your work.
yeah.
That's standard. And then you're taking a fraction of that home after you pay taxes and everything else. Um, and so it just seems like a losing proposition. You have to be involved. They want you to have a presence. They want you to be at all the openings, to mingle with the
Mm,
collectors. They want you to tell your story, all this, that, and the other. I didn't want any part of that. And
okay.
I've never found a part of the contemporary art world that I do like. And so I was like, I just want to present my work, and I'd love to have
Yeah.
someone that is willing to spend for it. And so how do I get between there are these barriers between me, the producer, and the person who's willing to spend. and I just want the person who wants my work to be able to get it, and to try to bypass the middleman. This is a version, an ability to do that.
Yeah.
At least it, it has that
It's the
potential.
first step,
It's the
right?
first step. It's the first step. Now, to be full disclosure, if anyone is looking for this to be the gateway to get to those collectors in the contemporary world, that's not it. As we mentioned, Metacloven is not an art collector in the traditional
Mm,
sense. In the rank and file of art collectors, I mentioned a couple weeks ago the list. I always look at a list of 200 top art collectors on artnews.net or whatever it is, and they're almost it's drenched in contemporary art. There's very little that have digital art on there, but there's some. So
do you
there's a
think
little bit. There's a foothold.
do you think that's going to change
Yeah.
as some of these, like, do you think we're going to I'm curious, like, as I think you need to really monitor it, because I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if tomorrow or next week or next month you start seeing some of these people, or these online NFTs becoming like more and more sought after.
Hmm. Yes, the fact that Christie's and Sotheby's, both in Manhattan, the two biggest auction houses of art. I mean, you can find everything from contemporary art to old masters and everything in between. They auction off, and they also authenticate art. So if you find a piece and you're not sure where it came from, they can authenticate it, value it, all that kind of stuff. These are heavy hitters, Christie's and Sotheby's.
Okay.
Christie's brokered the deal with Beeple to Metacloven for the everydays. And so
Oh,
this was, and I think that the reason they stepped in and they took um, they want to be involved is I think they didn't want to be left out. I think it was a smart business
interesting.
move to say we recognize this digital art before everyone else, because a lot of people, and I was listening to an interview with Mike Winkleman, people who sold the Everydays for 69.3 million.
Yeah.
They told him, the people that worked in the auction, they said people are going to be ticked off about this. Like in the art world, they're going to be very angry
Yeah.
about this. And
Were they?
he's like,
Like, from your
yeah, oh
perspective,
yeah.
being in what was the reaction? What did you see happen?
Well, I haven't seen a whole lot happen, but I've heard from people. I've mentioned to some people that work in different levels in art galleries, big time art galleries, and you're in there say, oh, well, I'm skeptical, and they're skeptical because obviously they're not in it, and they're many. I think in some cases they're saying that to say, you know, why would I want to admit that this is a real thing? And I think there's some true skepticism there too. I think they feel like a tangible physical art is the only thing that will last, and is a sure thing. It's a physical object.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I experienced this about 10 years ago. I saw a revolution happening with art, and that was on YouTube. I saw people monetizing their art by recording the experience of their
Of
process
making it.
of
Yes.
making it.
Yes.
And I
Hmm.
thought, this takes it to a new dimension.
You can
And why
connect.
are not
Yeah.
more artists
Hmm.
doing this?
I'm gonna
Because
start doing it. Not the same way. Not the whole like video process, uh, but yeah, I'm starting to. I just got on Instagram like a month and a half to 2 months ago. So like I'm a newbie there, but I'm trying to see. I've been trying to crack the code of how do I get to someone who has money to invest in someone who can create in my estimation work of good handcraft. Okay, so
mm,
I'm a classical, but right as of now, I would consider myself a narrative biblical narrative painter, in the classical style. That's what I want to be. And I want to find an audience. I don't need to find many people. I only need to find one, actually, because if I find the right person, he or she would be willing to invest in me as a creator of work. But I'm also, I'm also keeping the door open to other ideas of, maybe I'm not looking for collectors, and maybe I'm looking for some art collectors, in the traditional sense. And this has given me more, open my eyes a little bit more. And I don't know how long the window is going to be of this first wave. I'm calling this the first wave. NFTs have been a thing for a while. NFT art's been a thing for a little while. But the sale, literally less than a month ago, of this work for $69.3 million, for this Everydays that Beeple made, that has totally blown the doors off the hinges to opening that world. Like, there's no doors on that world now. It's opened up, and they're curious. I think the establishment art world, I think, is a little bit scared, and they should be. I don't think it's not something that's going to happen in their generation. I don't think it is. I think it's going to take a while
I don't know.
and I don't think they'll ever go away.
What the
Physical art,
like,
yeah. I'm not sure that'll ever go away.
But here's the
Certainly, I
thing:
hope it doesn't.
You really do have to get on Instagram to get what's going on in the
Facebook and Twitter are not the way to promote your work, right?
Well, I want to show.
I mean, you can, but
we talked about showing some of these things. So let me. I do want to show some of these. Let's see. Okay, so this is Instagram artistic viral, right? And this is where I see like incredible things. Like this is the sort of thing that
right. Yes,
I see like a lot of, where it's incredible, and you can't deny the artistic beauty of it, right? The
time, the investment of time into it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it's technical handcraft,
and then you see a lot of the paintings that are photorealistic, right? And then they show you kind of how they made it. You seeing this right now, like that glass. There's a lot of that. But then you've got some of these like more weirder things that I don't get. It's like salads, and there's this other one that keeps popping up. I wonder if I could find it. But it's like where these people keep hiding things within things. Have you seen this? Where let me see if I can find it. Oh, and then there's this too, the photorealistic floor art, or a lot of street art.
Not this one in particular, but I've seen several of those, and that's interesting.
Yeah, and shoe art. It's amazing. Some of the things, but so I just what's this? So, oh yeah, cake art.
Oh yeah.
Like
wow.
Just taking let me get out of this real quick. But taking art to different mediums, and now with video, being able to take them into I think the first realization I had that art was changing completely because of video was when I saw this artist say he was just tired of regular art, and he started making what he was calling decayable art. So he would do these beautiful, fantastic things, in fruit and then video them as they just like decayed.
Crumble. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
just crumbled.
Now
And I thought,
that's an
wow.
idea. That concept right there, in a different way, but the opposite from a building perspective is something I'm going to tinker with, um, with 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 NFTs. And what I'm going to do is this. So I have this huge painting project that I'm about to embark on, and what I'm planning on doing is, and with pretty much any painting, as you see on my Facebook timeline, I post progress kind of pictures. Hey, I worked on this, and I'll show, and I'll say, I might comment on it on where I think it is. I might throw a percentage on there. This much done, this much. It's still very early or whatever. I'll comment on it because I don't want people
Or
to get the wrong idea.
you'll show some of your studies, which I like.
Yeah,
You'll just study it. Yeah.
studies are another part of this, and so here's my idea. My idea is that, okay, for a painting, because I will be working in stages, and these are the ones I'm working on are massive, but I'll be taking pictures of them just to see where they're at, and to be able to refer back to when I paint further if there's a problem, that they're helpful for that purpose, but also just to catalog it and see the progress, learn from the process, and learn how I might be more efficient on future pieces. Well, my idea is that when the final piece is done, I'm going to have it scanned on a high resolution scanner locally. It's um, I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. The guy that lives not far from me, he has a high tech scanner, very high tech, expensive scanner, and I'll have the work high res scanned when it's completed. I'll have my work of the process through the process just captured with one of my wife's cameras. She actually um, either one of her cameras that she's currently using, or she has a couple of models that she doesn't use as much, and she's actually said, I should probably loan this one to you so you can take pictures just for yourself. Well, I'll take pictures on the good camera that's, maybe out closer to the end of its life, of these stages of during the paint process of painting. And then the idea is that when it's completed, so these pieces these are going in a church, but the high res scan would be like, this is the completed work, it's offered, and then separately there are all these stages prior to get there that they don't exist anymore. They've been painted over, and earlier stages, that this is all the documentation we have of this stage of the painting, go back to this original
So like
sketch.
a high res representation of a stage.
Yeah, of a stage.
You get to have that physical stage.
Yes, and so that stage, intermittent stage, is gone. You never, it doesn't exist in this world anymore. It's completely
unless you
painted.
preserve it.
Right, and so that I would that would be an individual NFT offered. Okay, here's the finished piece, but oh look, you can see there's interest because, quite frankly, when you get into the technical side of painting, and you look at books about the Renaissance and paintings and frescoes, they do all these X-rays and they have these technical information that show you different stages from an X-ray standpoint. It's interesting, but I was like, oh, if I could see what the painting looked like during that X-ray, that would be even immensely more help to me, and it'd be interesting just to see it. And you see unfinished paintings by famous painters and from the past, and you're oh wow, wonder what they were envisioning finishing it to be.
Well, what would be fascinating is if like I bought one of those like stages and I finished it, like branched off into my own version of what it, and just branched off into a different version of what it ended up looking like, or somebody else, another painter, buys it and continues it, like paints,
Yes.
continues the painting. And you see like these
So many things you can do.
Oh man.
So here's the thing with NFTs. What they say is the thing to focus on today for artists, for creators, experimentation. And that's why I was experimenting. That idea that I have is an experimentational idea for someone who works in my process that I think, okay, I've already done the work. Why not just capture it, throw it out there? What have I lost? $20 if no one buys it? I mean, someone's going to buy it for $20. I'll get my money back. That's the thing.
Yeah.
With these NFTs, as creators, there's so many people buying this stuff. You'll get your money back. The question is, how much more am I going to make above it? Well, because I think that a bubble is going to pop at some point. I don't know if that's going to be a year, 2 years now, 3 years, 3 months, but I'm encouraging people that create to just throw stuff out there. And because right now, if you go on these sites, it's like thousands of wet towels thrown against the wall. But a lot of them, it depends on your threshold. I've seen things, okay, for instance, today I went on the site that I like, Super Rare, and saw a very basic, it looks like a grabbed picture of a washing machine. The piece is called not money laundering, Monet laundering, okay? Like the artist Monet. So there's a washing machine. There's a washing machine, very basic, kind of generic washing machine with some bubbles around it and stuff. And inside the washing machine is a part of a Monet. They like clip art. They just throw it in there. And on the outside, there's a bar of soap and a self-portrait of Monet sitting on that soap. And that's called Monet laundering. And you know what's going for before we got on? $1,060 in US cash. And they spent $20 to put it up there. It probably took them in less than an hour to create it.
But
that's what I'm getting.
Here's the thing. So, like, I always ask myself, because I wish I had gotten in on YouTube back in 2016.
Right.
Because back then, you could get in and you could make thousands of dollars, right? Like in the early stages of the monetization and that sort of thing, being a partner. Nowadays, right? It's like I used to say, look, I don't want to have millions of views. I just want a piece of those millions of views, right? But the truth is, there's just so much out there now. Now, it may be that is the new frontier. And that's exactly, if you go in the comment section, you'll see that podcast that Ford and I did, and he was prescient in the sense that he said the future is blockchain. And I was thinking, how could it possibly, like, I was thinking Bitcoin, I was thinking, oh, come on, Bitcoin. He was thinking beyond that. Ford,
the slice.
He was, he was thinking like math connected to art. Math connected to we even talked in that podcast about war, math connected to war, where you prove undeniably, you have this like NFT of like we won, like using video games or something like that. It's like, sorry, here it is. Here's the blockchain. It's locked down.
Wow.
You can see the code. We won. And the whole world sees it, just little things like that.
Well, you could sign a peace treaty that way. And here's the thing, from the standpoint of warfare. But the thing is, the art side of this right now, which is the popular, this is the face of NFTs right now is art. It was Bitcoin previously, and currently, right now because of Elon Musk, it's Dogecoin or Dogecoin, whatever you want to call it. He's big into that. Yeah, so like, but cryptocurrency is now taking a back seat, and the NFT art has come forward because it's now, and that's the difference between fungible and unfungible. Because I think we need to tell people, but kind of
because, but you need to have Ethereum to use. I don't know about Super Rare, but in order to use rareable or mintable,
Mhm.
you have to have Ethereum.
Yeah,
You pay
exactly.
them in Ethereum,
You
which
convert.
parenthetically recently, not Musk, but who's the guy that owns the Dallas basketball team, NFL team? I forget
Oh
what his
yeah,
name is.
yes, yeah, yes, Mark,
It's escaping me. Yes,
Mark,
yes.
Mark. No, is it Mark?
Yeah, yeah,
I know what
it
you're talking about.
is.
Uh,
Yeah, he recently said uh that he believes that what is it, Mark? I can't remember. Billionaire Mark. No, what is his name?
hang on, here it comes. Here it comes. Here come the results.
He's like
Mark
Shark
Cuban.
Tank,
Mark Cuban.
right?
Mark Cuban. Yes.
Cuban. How
Yes.
can we forget that? Yes.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban recently said that Ethereum is the closest thing to what we think of as the dollar, as this, like
That's the thing. Someone like him, someone like an Elon Musk, beating their chests over these the crypto world matters. These are
yeah.
not small potatoes kind of people.
Mm-mm.
And Christie's getting involved. Christie's, that's a big deal. Now, I think they're trying to solve something that's unsolved. They're trying to bridge the new NFT art side of things, the unestablishment art to the establishment art, and maybe it'll work. But it's going to take forever. It's going to take a couple of generations, I think, to get there. To
You're talking
because
about
they're
Christie's auction house, right?
yeah, the auction house. I think because
Okay.
they've only existed in the establishment world. And I just think that it's,
Hmm.
I commend them. I think they made the right move. They don't want to be left out, and so they beat Sotheby's to their competitor to the you know they
Punch.
beat them by saying, hey, we're part of this, broker this deal, and it was a
Okay.
big
Yeah.
deal. But here's the thing. So the art world and the NFT art world is being flooded with work right now. I mean, I mentioned the
Yeah.
Monet laundering piece. Okay, going for over $1,000. It's a piece of garbage. But so right now, people need to, if you're a creator, so if you took $100 and said, I'm going to make like 4 or 5 pieces, throw them out there, see what happens. You've risked nothing as a
True.
creator, as an artist.
Oh yeah. Jim Pass is still watching. He said Mark Cuban. He could have
Yeah,
helped us there. But
yeah,
I was looking at the at the comments. But here's the thing. I heard someone say, because I was looking into this, and I think is a key here is following his audience. And
mm-hmm,
Beeple
mm-hmm.
had
Yeah,
created through his
design. Yeah.
constant and
Mm-hmm,
reliable, quality and quantity,
mm-hmm.
created a massive audience and following. So really, but really, and maybe that's part of what we're doing here is creating a following.
Yep.
Not because we want to be popular. Everybody wants to be popular, but it's like, let's. I think one of the most profound thing I saw about social media was this guy Matt. I forget what his name. Malarkey. He was like a Twitter guru, and he said, "Listen, when it comes down to it, you don't want people following you on Twitter that you wouldn't follow. You want
Mm-hmm,
people that like your stuff.
mm-hmm,
And I think that's what we are trying to create. And that's what I'm trying to
mm-hmm.
create is a group of people that appreciate um
Absolutely.
or
That's
that
why I'm here.
benefit from
Yeah.
what we provide, and we're just I think at this point we're the early stages where we're trying to figure out what do we provide, like, and as we're talking about art and piecing it together and really picking it apart and thinking about what is it that we provide. um
Hmm.
it's almost like you're saying, it's like letting people in on the process, right?
Yeah, I love it.
In the stages.
It's fun. It's fun. I think this what if this is a bubble that does burst, and I think it will. That's not a big deal if you're not on the investment side of it. um, if you're on the creation side, it's like, okay, I went along for I was on the wave until it crashed. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be the end of NFT art when that happens,
Right.
because we've seen this before. Remember the .com bubble?
Yeah.
That was an internet thing, and when that happened, did the internet go away? No, it just threw out the trash.
Right.
And so that's what will happen here. When you look at these sites, there's no rhyme or reason to an overarching aesthetic. I can look at the art world, even the current art world, with as diverse as it is. I can see trends and say, yeah, that I see that a lot. I see this a lot. I don't see this very
Yeah.
much. But it like all things, it'll work itself out. But I think for people that create, that now's it's low risk, and you could have decent reward. I mean, if you made 300% on something you dropped in, you already have, especially if you already have the work, it's already in your database, it's already in your computer. There's no risk to mint it and throw it out there.
Well, and maybe we should create. I'm looking at Mintable right now. Maybe we should create a space for that. For people to be able to take part. At least you and I, start putting some things up, and just seeing what
what happens.
What does this mean? Yeah, what happens?
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
But here's the question, though. This is often where I get tripped up. Do we we set up an account at super rare, rareable, and mintable, and wise key?
So the uniqueness matters here, and you can only put a work on one of those sites.
Oh, so you kind of want to pick just one.
Or if you want to like dabble in each of them, you can put different works in each site. You can't put the same work in each site, because it's like eBay. You couldn't put it. Well, actually, it's not true. I remember times when I saw the same thing on eBay that I saw on Amazon for sale used.
But they didn't have the blockchain that was
right. That's the difference.
Was making it unique.
Unique. Yes. So, but yes, certainly you could throw one or two pieces on one site, another one on another. Like if you wanted to play the odds that way, that's the way to play the odds. But
maybe the way to go is just to pick one.
Just pick one. Yeah.
You like super rare, huh?
Well, I don't know. Tell me what you think after we'll message each other.
I'm going to go look at them. Yeah. I'm going to go look at them. I'm going to look
Tell me what you think about their aesthetic and ease navigation and understanding what you're seeing. I don't understand the pricing side of it on a lot of these sites. Yeah. Like where's this at right now? Does it mean that it's at this number? And if I bid, I have to bid the next number? Or does that mean just the asking price? Like it's so confusing with some of these sites. And they should be a lot better, especially if they're turning kind of numbers in currency, crypto or otherwise, that they are. They should be better.
I do like the cartoony aspect of super rare. There is something a little bit more accessible if you go
it just seems like it's a higher quality curation in my estimation. It's just, I don't know, in all aspects, but I don't know. It's just my opinion.
Well, let's look into it. I'm going to create a site for Notashow, and let's start putting stuff up. Let's start do it. Just for Notashow, and eventually, hopefully, we start doing art, or at least presenting art for critique on here. On every other Monday night. will
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah,
We're out of time now, but I think it's fascinating. It's an
it is.
untapped. It's a new.
It's
I
a new
think we're
frontier.
looking at a new frontier, and that's
Yeah,
exciting.
it is. It is. And don't real quick,
Hmm.
don't forget the fact that this whole idea of blockchains and non-fungible tokens, um, this is going. A lot of people think this is going to be how you're going to buy a house, buy a car. You're going to get an NFT that shows proof of ownership. So I'm just throwing it out there because
Hmm.
the idea, this is basically a notary without a third party. That's what this is.
Could
That there's
this
so much value in that. That
could this be the? I'm just throwing this out there. Could this be laying the foundation for the mark of the beast?
it maybe, who knows? But what I would say is this: is that the fact that they can make this so unique, you can see the utility of it in transactions
Yeah.
and proof of ownership, proof of having something done. That that the use of it, if you think about it, it leaves art in this big of a part of it. So the art world right now is just bringing it to light. It's saying, hey, NFTs are here, blockchain technology is here, but just
Yeah.
wait. I think this is going to be like way more penetrating and widespread usage than just art or Bitcoin or cryptocurrency.
Wow, that's huge. Let's take a picture for art purposes right now that has like a timestamp on it.
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go.
And maybe that could be like a piece of art.
There you go.
I don't
You
know.
never know. We can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Great.
right. Well, thank you everybody for showing up. Appreciate
Thanks
Jim
for
Pass for the thumbs up in the
yes.
comments,
Thanks.
and
Thanks
Jay,
for the comments.
and
Yes.
yeah, just good to talk through this. I would like. Do you have artist friends that we could start? For example, I could take that screen capture of us and send it to a bunch of people and say, "Look, do something with
Mhm.
this."
Yeah. Right. Right.
And
Play with it. Hmm.
yeah, do you
Hmm.
have do you have
I
friends, artist friends that could do that?
I do. So like yeah, if we so the idea I think if I have someone like just play with this, do something,
Yeah,
make something interesting, and then
I have a couple. Let's do that. Let's
well
let's.
to
I'm
do
gonna
it.
send. I'm gonna send you the link, and let's send it to a couple people and say, look, do something with this, and we'll show it next week. We'll show the
Why not?
various
Exactly.
interpretation.
Yes. Yes. Why not?
Maybe me and you can do a little interpretation too.
Yes. Why not? Yeah.
Okay, that'll be fun. All right. Well, thank you for everybody for tuning in. We're just looking at
Yes.
art and the world that holds it, and of course, God, the Triune God holds all of it, and we admit
Amen.
that and appreciate that above all. Thank you guys, and we'll be back in 2 weeks, right?